You know, there was one thing that I was actually thinking about when I left the theater. And that was, finally, after all of these years, Ron Perlman is in a movie that isn't shitty. Hello. Freedom Guy 55 here again, and the movie is Drive. It stars Ryan Gosling, Carey Mulligan, Bryan Cranston, Ron Perlman, and a person that we haven't seen in a long time in film, at least in live action. He's done some voiceover in cartoons, but we just haven't seen him in live action for a long time, and that's, of course, Albert Brooks. Now, of course, there are probably some people who are probably watching this saying, who the hell's Albert Brooks? Yeah. And thank you for that, for those people who do, because you're going to make me feel old. Anyway, this movie is about a guy who we wind up following that is a stuntman for the movies. And he also has a second job as a wheelman, or a person who drives for the criminal element. After the movie goes along the way, he winds up getting involved in a botched job, and he has a price on his head. And that seems to be pretty much what I'm going to give you in the movie. I mean, there are a lot of other particular kind of layers to this film, because this film is actually really good. I actually I have really quite good sympathy for the main protagonist of this movie. I really did like the main protagonist of this movie, because he's like this lone character. He doesn't have much of a past. I mean, he doesn't have a past, or he doesn't have much of a past, and he doesn't have kind of plans for a future. He just lives kind of in the now and kind of in the shadows. And this kind of character lives. The movie is not really about him, but the story that develops around him, and that we're taken on his journey through this kind of his motivations toward the scenes, and how his feelings, the feelings that he winds up having for the people in the movie. So I really did like how they actually developed his character in this film, because I could really understand that this is his character kind of really acts like a typical Western type of character, or even like a character within film noir, which is what this kind of film reminded me of, a kind of film noir for the modern day. The acting is really good. I mean, I can understand why this film won Best Director at the Cannes Film Festival, because you could really tell that the director knew exactly what he was doing within scene to scene to scene. And I really liked that. I thought that was awesome. I mean, I'm sorry, Nicholas Winding Refn? Yes, man. I think that's his name, but hopefully I didn't mess up anything. But he's good. I mean, he is good, okay, at doing this. And I really love this. But this film is kind of more for people who actually like film than it is for individuals that just go to movies and see the kind of regular conventions that we're used to. Because it just really doesn't play a huge amount of action. What it really plays is kind of a artsy type of flavor. But it is a good artsy type of flavor. Though there is a lot more violence than I expected in this film. It kind of came all of a sudden, out of nowhere. But at the same time, I'm not against violence, so, you know. Well, in real life I am, but in movies I'm not. Let's see. I mean, there isn't really anything really too bad about this film. I mean, most of this film really works extremely very well. So, what do I give it? Well, I give this film pretty much 4.5 stars. I really did enjoy this film. I will buy it on Blu-ray. I will do all that kind of stuff. But I have to actually warn you, this is a crime drama. This is not a balls-ass action movie. So, just remember that. But if you like kind of like the lone type of character in a film, and you kind of have a tendency to want to empathize with characters within this kind of sense of a drama and whatnot, then this movie might be for you. But if you're not into that kind of artsy kind of stuff, then this film probably won't be for you. But I am, so sorry. And I guess that's it. I really do recommend it. It is a must-see for anybody who is a person that is interested in film. And I give it 4.5 stars, and that's about it. Oh, yeah, and also, I really did love the soundtrack to this movie. This movie had a really good, interesting soundtrack that I loved. That's amazing, you know? I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with Attack the Block. I really loved the soundtrack in that, and I really love the soundtrack in this movie. It's, like, really good. It's like directors know what they're doing in most independent features. And it's kind of funny how that works. Because independent features are exactly the opposite of what Hollywood is. Hollywood kind of just seems to stream along a lot of shitty films together, and then you get occasional good ones. While independent films, you get like an occasional shitty one, but then you get a lot of really, in some ways, good ones. And not best ones, but really good ones. Well, that's it. And I thank you for your time, and have a nice day.